the ancient Anunnaki, Nibiru and Gold, from Sumerian legends and what history is not teaching us. The existence of ancient Anunnaki, an extraterrestrial civilization that came to Earth in the distant past, has long been disputed by researchers, yet their existence and arrival to planet Earth is well documented in many ancient texts, and mainstream history has ignored this completely. According to Zecharia Sitchin, the Anunnaki gods created humans as slave species called the Adamu, the first modern humans to live on Earth. The first humans were the product of intelligent design by the Anunnaki 450,000 years ago, when the ancient Anunnaki genetically mixed their DNA with that of prehistoric man, and that way obtained a labor force that allowed them to exploit Earth's natural resources. Historically speaking, there are many similarities among ancient Sumerian texts and modern religious books such as the Bible. Could they have been a similar origin? Some African cultures believe that extraterrestrial beings have been visiting the Earth for tens of thousands of years. For example, the Zulu legends speak of a time when visitors from the stars came to excavate gold and other natural resources. These mines were worked by slaves created by the first people. The story behind the Anunnaki, those whom Anu sent from heaven to earth, is far more mysterious than anyone is willing to accept in recent years, and mostly because of the ancient astronaut theory, which proposes that Earth has been visited by advanced alien civilizations from thousands of years ago. The truth behind the Anunnaki has gained much importance among millions of readers and viewers around the globe. Evidence of the Anunnaki present in ancient clay tablets. If the Anunnaki did exist, would we find evidence of their reign here on Earth? Well, according to many researchers, the evidence is abundant. During excavations of the biblical city of Nineveh, the team led by Austin Henry Layard discovered the ruins of an ancient Assyrian library of Ashurbanipal. Interestingly, one of the most important discoveries made during the excavation were a series of cuneiform tablets called the Enuma Elish, or better known as the Seven Tablets of Creation. According to numerous researchers, the Seven Tablets of Creation tell the story about a group of gods called the Anunnaki who came from the heaven. That means, of course, space, universe, other areas of our solar system or galaxies, to create the human race. The Sumerian Kingless is perhaps one of the most important ancient texts that perfectly describes a time in history where literally gods ruled for thousands of years. After the kingship, the Sumerian Kingless says, after the kingship descended from heaven, the kingship was in Eridug. In Eridug, Alulim became king. He ruled for 28,800 years. Al-Jar ruled for 36,000 years. Two kings, they ruled for 64,800 years. Can you imagine that? One of the most interesting details about the Sumerian king list is the fact that the earliest list describes 8 kings who ruled over Earth for a total of 241,200 years, since the original kingship had descended from heaven, quote-unquote, all the way to the time of the Great Flood, which swept over the land, and once more the kingship was lowered from heaven after the flood. The Great Flood, according to the ancient Sumerian accounts. Did you know that the earliest accounts of the Great Flood are found in ancient Sumerian texts? According to the ancient Sumerians, Eridu, modern-day Abu Sarain, Iraq, was believed to have been the first city ever created and was the home of this great god Enki. The city is thought to have been founded about 5,400 BC. In Eridu Genesis, the Eridu Genesis, which is thought to have been composed around 2,300 BC, is the earliest known account of the Great Flood, predating the modern popular Great Flood described in the biblical books of Genesis. The Eridu Genesis is a tale where Utnapishtim was instructed by the gods to build a great vessel and gather inside, quote, the seed of life, end quote. In the book written by Thorkild Jacobsen, a renowned historian specializing in Assyriology and Sumerian literature, the creation of man is attributed to four gods, the Anunnaki. And I quote, the Nibiru Genesis described the creation of man by the four great gods, the Anunnaki, and Sky, the source of rain and most powerful of the gods, Enlil, Lord Wind, the power of in growing weather, creator of the hoe, Ninhursag, lady of the stony ground, mother of wildlife, and Enki, rival of Ninhursag, the lady of the wildlife. After Ninhursag had decided to turn man from his primitive nomadic camping grounds towards city life, the period began when animals flourished on earth and kingship came down from heaven. The earliest cities were named, had the measuring cups, emblems of the redistributional economic system allotted to them, and were divided between the gods. Irrigation, agriculture was developed, and man thrived and multiplied. However, the noise made by man in his teeming settlements began to vex Enlil sorely, and driven beyond endurance, he persuaded the other gods to wipe out man in a great flood. Enki, thinking quickly, found a way to warn his favorite, one Ziusudra. He told him to build a boat in which to survive the flood, and his family and representatives of the animals. This is what Thorkild Jacobsen from the Treasures of Darkness writes. The ancient Anunnaki is their evidence. 150 kilometers west of Port Maputo in South Africa, we find what many people today refer to as one of the first major ancient Anunnaki metropolises. According to initial tests, an area of over 1,500 square kilometers is evidence of the existence of giant prehistoric cities that belonged to an unknown ancient civilization that inhabited the area in the distant past, at a time when mainstream scholars tell us advanced civilization did not inhabit Earth. According to Michael Tellinger, one of the first researchers to investigate the ruins in South Africa, the finding is so incredible that it will need to it will need a complete paradigm shift in how we view our human history. Tellinger proposes that the amazing ancient city is part of an even larger community with about 10,000 square kilometers and is believed to have been constructed 160,000 to 200,000 years before Christ. Nibiru Gold, saving the home planet of the ancient Anunnaki. Now, what about Nibiru? Now, we do have a reference in Genesis of gold, mining for gold, and I for one don't know what that was all about, why that was put in there. Now, the Nibiru, moreover, why did the ancient Anunnaki come specifically to Earth in the distant past? In 1976, the late Zecharia Sitchin raised a controversy with the publication of his book, The 12th Planet. In this and some subsequent books, Sitchin presented his translation of ancient Sumerian texts, which tell an incredible story regarding the origins of humanity on Earth, stories that are completely different to those that most of us learn in school. Nibiru is a mythical planet located in the outer reaches of our solar system. It's the giant home planet of the Anunnaki, and it was doomed, and the only thing that could save the planet was gold. Nibiru, we're talking about Nibiru Planet X here. Sitchin hypothesized that the Anunnaki came from Nibiru, which has a 3,600-year elliptical orbit, to mine gold on Earth. The planet's minerals and resources were depleted, specifically gold. The Anunnaki's home planet needed gold in the atmosphere, which was disappearing, so they came to our planet to mine gold and take it back to their home planet. I guess they couldn't find gold in any other planet. Now, did you know that gold reflects infrared light? I didn't. I'm just learning it now. Gold reflects infrared light. Infrared is the light you do not see, but in fact interact with it in the form of heat. The radiation interacts with our molecules, and that makes them vibrate faster, and you'll feel that as heat. Gold also makes an excellent heat shield, partly because it is quite malleable. And better yet, you can make gold very thin. It's easy to work with, like gold leaf, and it has excellent properties for reflecting and heat protection, making it indeed the only material, the only metal that is proven to last the test of time. We can say that gold is indestructible. Ancient civilizations used it thousands of years ago in figures, and some of them in buildings. Anything that was made out of gold thousands of years ago still exists today, and you can see jewelry made thousands of years ago in museums all over the world, and you can say that you probably think that it was made yesterday. Now, not only in ancient Sumeria, but ancient civilizations across the globe have a very special place for gold in their society. There are stories about the ancient Anunnaki. Is it just mythology? Let's remember that the Native American Indians used to call the sky gods Anu. Anu as in Anu from the Anunnaki here as well. So is this just ancient legends? Are they a real extraterrestrial race that has visited Earth thousands of years ago? Is there enough evidence to support the ancient alien theory about this extraterrestrial race? Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. This was from via Ancient Code in its Unbended Reality. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support, and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.